Hello, my name is Gina James. I'm 41 years old. I'm a wife and mother of 9. I live in Naperville, Illinois, and I'm going to be telling you today why I'm an expert on twins. I'm going to be answering 10 questions, and the first question is,
do you consider yourself an expert on twins?
yes, I do consider myself an expert on twins, and the reason why that is because I have 5-year-old twin boys, Farron and Farron. Twins run in my family. My mother is actually a twin. I have first cousins that are twins. My mom didn't have any twins, but her twin had twins. And then I also have other cousins that's twins in our family, and there's also twins on my husband's side. So I think I'm a pretty good expert on twins with all the twins that's running in both sides of the family, and I'm raising a set of twins myself.
How much do you know about identical and fraternal twins?
Well, I think I know a lot myself. My twin boys, Farron and Farron, they're fraternal twins. A lot of people, as they were growing up, thought that they were identical twins. My mother herself, she is a fraternal twin. She has a twin brother. My first cousins, they're identical twins. And so we used to always tell them all the time we could never tell them apart. But one had a slight limp, so we would always tell him, walk, walk, let us see you walk. So that's how we knew which twin was which.
Do you think identical twins have a different dynamic than regular siblings? If so, explain why.
Yes, I do think regular twins have a different dynamic than regular because twins are so much closer. They have a lot in common. They're together 24/7. So they speak for each other. They take up for each other. They look after each other a lot more closely than regular siblings. Like I said, I'm a mother of 9, and I look at all the time when one of the twins doesn't want to speak. The younger twin would speak for him, and he would take up for him. When the kids would say, why doesn't he ever say anything? He would say, you know what, because he doesn't feel like talking today. And as far as the other children, when one gets bored or whatever, the other children will be like, you know what, they're just tired, they don't want to do anything, and they don't think no more about them. But when you see those twins, you see how they're so close-knit and how much they look out for each other no matter what. Even with their other siblings, they take up for them and look out for them.
Do you think it's healthy for identical twins to be inseparable?
That's a yes and a no question. I think that it's great that twins aren't inseparable, that they always together, and they look out for each other, and they have that close bond and closeness. I think that's awesome, but it can also hurt them because they need to be independent, and they need to have some independency of their own. And if they're always together and they're always depending on each other, then you got to look at it as they get older, and when they start to branch out on their own, how are they going to be able to handle that if they're always depending on one another? So I think that they do need their own independency.
Do you think it's possible for identical twins to be completely independent from one another?
I think it is possible to have them be independent from one another. That it has to start at home. It has to start with the parents. Especially, it's awesome if they have other siblings, because you can have a brother, a big brother, to take one twin, and a sister to take the other twin, or even the mom and dad, can take one. But they should have that independency. And if the parents work at it and show them how, they won't even miss it. It will be normal. They would even come to you some days and say, mommy, are we going to have mommy and daughter day, or mommy and, in Sunday, or whatever. And you can do this if you if the parents teach them this early and not let them be dependent on each other.
Give us your expert opinion on what you think a healthy relationship between identical twins should involve and should not involve.
I think a healthy relationship with identical twins, with twins, period, is if you have that one shy twin, because there's always one that's more outgoing than the other, and that brother or that sister, or that other twin speaks up for him, helps him out, looks out for him, shows him that he doesn't have to be timid or scared, or or her, that she doesn't have to be shy around the other girls. That's a good thing. It's also, can be hurtful for them if they don't learn that, because each and every time they're gonna always depend on their twin and their sibling, and they're gonna want them there all the time. And as they get older and as they go through changes and different stages, sometimes the classrooms separate them, especially if they're identical. The teachers can't tell them apart and they're having a very difficult time. They separate them, and if they're always dependent on each other, one is gonna be withdrawn, and it's gonna make it harder for him to even just get through his or her day. So we need to help separate that and help them out a bit.
Are you an identical twin? If so, briefly tell us about your relationship with your twin.
No, I'm not an identical twin. I'm not a twin at all. As I say, twins run in our family, But everyone does have a twin. We all have someone out there somewhere that looks just like us. Not too long ago, some friends of mine had sent me an email from Facebook because they ran across this young lady that looked exactly like me. And they thought she was my daughter. And I'm like, no, I didn't know each other. But when we wind up communicating, it was just unbelievable, the resemblance, that we look just alike. So it is amazing to know that there's someone out there somewhere that looks just like you.
In your expert opinion, do you think the majority of identical twins want to be as similar as possible to each other or different from each other?
I think most twins that are identical, they love it as a child and growing up and having someone there. But as they get older and when they get into those teenage years, and they want their own independency. They want, they don't want you to always picture them together. They get gifts together when it's their birthdays. They're getting the same gifts, the same toys, the same clothes. And as they get older, they want that own independency. You might have one child that loves cars, and you might have another child that loves G.I. Joes. And they both don't want a car. So they need their own separation. They need, and it's hard and it's difficult for us to do, because when we see them, they're dressed alike and they just look so adorable, and it's awesome, and it's hard for us to distinguish the two. But we need to give the twins their own independency, especially identical twins.
What are healthy steps that twins can take towards independence from one another?
Healthy steps that they can take is, one, doing things on their own. They don't always have to play together. They don't always have to play the same things. If one wants to play with cars and the other one wants to draw or paint, let them do that. If one, my twins, one of the sons, he loves, little Farron, he loves video games. All day long he wants to sit in the house and play video games. Farron wants to run outside and be free and have an awesome time. So they need that. Don't make both of them sit in the house together and play video games, or both of them stay outside and run around. Give them that freedom. Let them, have their own independency.
What kinds of issues can codependency between twins lead to?
It can lead to them always being dependent on someone or something, if you always putting them together all the time, boxing them together, if they're doing homework together, if they're sleeping together, if they're eating together, when they get to be an adult and they try to get out on their own, that's going to be very difficult for them. It's going to be very hard for that twin to say go to lunch by himself, to go and study alone, because he or she is always used to having that other person there, and it makes them withdrawn. It makes them go into a deep depression. So they need to learn this. They need to learn it at an early age on how to be dependent on themselves and not that other person. It's the same way as if you're married and you're in a relationship and you've been married for 20 or 30 years, and all of a sudden your other half is gone. You go into a depression because you've been used to waking up, eating, sleeping with that person 24 hours a day. That's the same way it is for twins. They came into this world together and they want to leave together. So if we don't teach them how to be independent and separate them early, it's going to be very difficult and very hard for them to make it on their own. They can't go on job interviews together. The one boss might like one of them better than the other. They can't go on college interviews together. One might want to go away to college and one might want to stay home in a community college. So they need to know how to separate themselves from each other. And it's up to the parents and it's up to the family to be able to do this and teach them this. My twins, Farron and Farron, when they want to do a lot of things by themselves, we encourage it. When I'm going to the store and I'm going shopping and one of the twins asks to go shopping with me, I take them. And Dad takes the other twin with him. So they don't have a problem with being alone. And, that's part of my expertise on twins. So this is Gina James. Until next time, love you and God bless.